Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. You switch your mic around? Is it not plugged in? Because mine is. It's not working. I think mine is definitely on. I can hear me. Oh. Just sit there for 2 seconds.
Are you kidding me?
We did an interview the other day. I forgot.
Are you serious? Pickle.
Happy Monday. Crushed it. This is why we have
executive
the
producer. Ooh. Look at me. I know what's going on around here. Walking
What
in
is
here.
this on a Monday? Chill.
Walking in here.
Chill.
Nothing's working. Can't hear myself.
I was giving the people what they wanted. An unplugged temper.
Just, normally when people say unplugged, they mean going out and telling a cool story.
Yeah, no, when we say unplugged with you, we mean
Just
literally can't hear you.
ridiculous. Hello, everybody. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. I'm your congenial host, Greg Tepper. I'm sitting over there.
What is going on over there?
Dusty over here.
Well, that's your area. We might fight before this is over.
Somebody came in with their sassy pants on today. Walked in. The first thing she did was just say, "Hey, did you get any sun this weekend?"
Well, everyone
And I'm like, well, I mean, I took like my kid to the park, like I did that, and she was like, so no, is your answer? And I'm like, no, I have responsibilities that go beyond laying out by a pool on.
You
on a
chose
Sunday.
that.
I didn't really. I didn't really. That was the first thing she said to me. She did not even say hello to me.
That is not
that was
true.
The first thing she said.
I said, hello, sir, when I walked in.
And then, the next thing she said.
Oh, God. This is all lies. Well, kind of.
No! All of this is true. All of this is true. It's like the first thing she said was, she's like, you're looking particularly pale today.
I did. Okay, that is a lie.
Like,
that is a lie. I said hello.
And I, like the first thing out of my mouth was, I hope you had a nice birthday party.
No, that's not true either. You asked if my power came back on.
I asked if your power came back on.
Because my power was out for a long time Friday evening.
Right. And I asked if your power came back on for your birthday party.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And you go, yeah, did.
You're pale. Yep, that's exactly how it went.
That's exactly how it went.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly how it went.
110%.
So, I don't know. Someone's in a mood today.
I am not in a mood.
And so we'll try to navigate through this on this our very special episode of Texas football today. And yeah, I don't really have a whole lot else on the pre-show. Do you?
The only reason I asked if you got any sun was because
There
when
we
I
go.
walked in, there were like 4 of us in here. Like the first 4 people that I saw were all like, are you sunburnt? Because I'm sunburnt. And I was like, yes, my back is extremely sunburnt. And so I just wondered if you were part of the sunburnt club today. Because there's a good population of us that spent too much time in the sun this weekend because we were really pumped that it was 90 degrees.
No.
Okay. See, that's all I was asking. I wasn't saying that you looked any more pale than you usually do, which is pretty pale.
Same. It's always something.
I'm just trying to help you.
Please help me.
This
on
is
the show,
constructive
guys.
criticism. That not being translucent is cool.
See, this is what I deal with every day, everybody. And so
They don't feel sorry
appreciate-
for you. Anyone watching this show does not feel sorry for you.
So I would appreciate your thoughts and prayers for what I have to deal with in this office with my colleagues.
Yes.
Because Ish is nice to me. Will's nice to me.
Ish is not nice
Steph's
to
nice to me.
any of us.
Everyone's nice to me except the producer of the show, who I have to deal with the most. So anyway, it's noon. Hit the theme expo. Pickle! Hit the air sign. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas, it is Texas Football Today, a program on the internet. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us, whether you're watching us live, TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, etc., or you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. I'm sitting over there at the helm today, making us sound good. She is the Duchess of the Dorks. She's Ashley Pickle.
Howdy, folks.
Today is Monday, March 28th, 2022, 241 days until Thanksgiving. Happy birthday to Jason Garrett.
All right.
Episode 1356 in this the year of our Lord 2022. On today's show, my friends, we've got headlines from across the state, including a lot of transfer portal news.
Yeah.
A lot of transfer portal news and the end of a football career for a Dave Campbell's Texas Football cover
we're kind of hitting the way back machine in headlines today.
Then we're going to unveil the 2021 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Coaches of the Year.
Woohoo.
We have to wait until if you're wondering why we're doing this in late March. First of all, we have to decide them. We don't really decide them, to be real honest. We don't really decide them until we start putting the summer edition together because they get honored in the summer edition. And then we have to go and let them know, and
Right.
call them,
Yeah.
and because I want them to hear it from me instead of finding out about it on the internet. But in any case, we will unveil the 2021 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Coaches of the Year in each classification. In the back half of the show, we're going to be joined by the new head coach of the Kermit Yellow Jackets. The Kermit Yellow Jackets, we're going to hear from Coach Nate Gensler. Nate Gensler was the defensive coordinator at Lubbock Roosevelt. Of course, a big part of what they were able to do, that historic year they had there, and now he gets his opportunity to be a head coach out there in Kermit. We'll talk to the head coach there, Coach Nate Gensler, coming up in the back half of the program. Do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. It was Coach Terry Crawford, Nick Morton, Miss Terry Adams, and Tony Blaylock. Welcome in, fellas and lady fella. Also, Step says that it snowed this weekend in Canada. He said it's sunny today, but the temp right now is 14 degrees. Brother, we are sitting at a beautiful 75 and sunny here.
Coach Crawford. Yeah, Coach Crawford. It's not Coach. Yes, Coach Crawford at Abbott, not Coach Abbott at Crawford. Coach Crawford, I emailed you. Please check your email. Okay, let's get some headlines from across the state of Texas, and we will start with some pretty sizable news down there in San Marcos. And that is that Brady McBride, the quarterback for Texas State, has announced that he is entering the transfer portal. He is heading in the transfer portal. He has been he finished high school at Coppell in 2019, signed with Memphis, spent 1 year there before transferred to Texas State. He sat out in 2019. He was their quarterback for the majority. They kind of shuffle some things around, but for the majority of 2020 and 2021, he started 15 games over the last 2 seasons. He started the first 7 games of 2021, lost his job to former starter Tyler Vitt. I would say that he was a little bit of up and down. McBride, his career there at Texas State was up and down. So what's the big storyline here? The big storyline here is that we thought that Texas State was going to be one of the few programs in the state that had some sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Some sort of consistency, some sort of stability at the quarterback spot. Mm-hmm. That will not be the case because McBride is now in the transfer portal. We'll see where he lands. And Tyler Vitt's not coming back. Tyler Vitt did have 1 season of eligibility left because of the COVID year. He's opted not to do that.
Well, that's the thing about McBride. He has 2 years of eligibility left, which seems like the 18th year senior, you know.
Yeah, he's got a lot. He's a redshirt junior, basically. So he'll have 2 years of eligibility left. But Tyler Vitt's going to graduate in May and go off and do his thing. So yeah, Texas State will have a new quarterback in 2022. That's pretty big news down there for in what I would classify. I would classify as a pretty make or break year for Jake Spavital down there at Texas State. He'll have to do it with a new quarterback, and we will see what they end up sorting through. So that is one thing to keep an eye on. And then, by the way, their spring game is April 9th, so maybe we'll have a better view of how things feel there whenever we get to the spring game. Speaking of transfers, this is not a Texas college product, but it certainly has Texas college ties.
Texas high school ties.
Texas high school ties and potentially Texas college ties. And that is that that Demetrius Davis,
remember him?
The quarterback from Galena Park North Shore, one of the most decorated quarterbacks in Texas high school football history. Of course, he was the guy who threw the Hail Mary in 2018, led them to another title in 2019, led them to the semifinals in 2020. He signed after the 2020 season with Auburn to go play at Auburn. Auburn, he has now announced that he is entering the transfer portal. Now, Auburn's been on the move recently. There's been a lot of Auburn in the news. For first of all, Brian Harsin, the coach there, there's just been a lot going on with him.
Yes.
Just a lot going on with him. He was going to be fired, then he wasn't going to be fired. He's going to get he got the vote of confidence, so he's going to be the head coach. They've, of course, moved some things around. And Demetrius Davis at the quarterback spot, you may remember that they picked up a transfer in the offseason. Most notably, they picked up Zach Calzada. Zach Calzada, who was the starting quarterback for Texas A&M whenever Haynes King went down. He led them to that win over Alabama, et cetera, et cetera. So there's certainly a lot of moving parts there. But Demetrius Davis looked around, and he sent out some sort of tweet that basically made it seem like he felt like he wasn't wanted.
Right.
And so,
which is interesting by saying Zach Calzada is wanted over Demetrius Davis, but to each their own.
Certainly.
They see something.
Right. So where could he land? right? Who could use now? Now here's the thing: he's a redshirt freshman, so he's got basically his whole career in front of him.
Yeah.
He did not. I don't believe he took a snap. Maybe he took 2 snaps.
Yeah.
For
and if they did, they wasn't a pass.
Yeah, it wasn't. He didn't factor in any sort of meaningful way. So he's on the market. Who's in the market for a quarterback that could use a guy like that? I would look at a guy. I would maybe look at Houston. Mm-hmm. He's, of course, from the Houston area. I think he would be a decent fit there for that kind of offense.
Yeah, you let Clayton Tune finish
Tune's
it
got
out.
one more year, and then
you're basically the guy.
The heir apparent. Same thing goes, I would say, at TCU. TCU is they're probably looking for whoever is going to be next after Max Duggan. Maybe Chandler Morris is that guy, but certainly Demetrius Davis would certainly give a push. Maybe it's a place like SMU. Rhett Lashley looking to make they've got another incumbent in Tanner Mordecai. He's got one more year of eligibility, and then who knows what's going to be there. He could also go out of state. Those would be the 3 programs that I think immediately feel like a fit in state for Demetrius Davis. But it'll be interesting certainly to see. He was a high profile quarterback who landed at Auburn. He is going to transfer now. We'll see where Demetrius Davis ends up. Speaking of the transfer portal, we were supposed to do this last week, but we didn't have a show on Monday. But speaking of SMU, they are losing one of their most important cogs of their offense from last year. And that is Ulysses Bentley IV. Ulysses Bentley, who, of course, was the star running back for them, especially in 2020, but also very good in 2021. He is transferring, and he has announced that he is going to transfer to Ole Miss. He was an outstanding piece of the SMU offense last year, and Rhett Lashley is going to need to find some answers there. Now look, there's some other guys that they feel pretty good about.
Oh yeah.
But I think they feel like they can get Brandon Upton a few more carries and he could take over. But as far as known commodities and guys that you feel like you can rely on, then certainly I would say now they do have Trey Siggers back. That's right. He's got one more year of eligibility. I keep saying senior and thinking like, oh, they're going to graduate, but that's not true. Trey Siggers is back. He was the leading rusher last year. But what really made that offense cook in the past couple of years was that they had kind of a stable of running backs. Maybe it's going to be Trey Siggers and Tyler Levine. Maybe it's going to be Brandon Upton getting some run there. But they will need to find a new part of that stable as Ulysses Bentley is transferring to Ole Miss.
And man, that announcement didn't take any time at all. No. It was basically
1-2.
I'm in the transfer portal, and then knew exactly where he was going.
Let's talk about a Dave Campbell's Texas Football cover boy.
Yep.
Back in 2013, Johnny Manziel has announced that. Not announced. I don't think it's probably I don't think it's fair.
It's
to say.
not worthy of an announcement.
So he is going to. So Johnny Manziel has basically said that my football career is in my eyes over. He is going to play in what is called the Fan-Controlled Football League, the FCF. He's going to do that for another year. It looks like it's kind of like an arena football league. They've got a bunch of kind of wacky bits.
I wonder when the XFL makes its resurgence if that'll change his mind.
Right. But he has said that he's going to play this year in the FCF, an Atlanta indoor. Plays in an Atlanta indoor facility. But he said that he says that this is something he just wants to do for fun. He just he's just out there kind of having fun playing, throwing the ball. This is the Quavo, the runner, the rapper. This is kind of his league. It's his money. It's his money that kind of fuels the league. He told ESPN, quote, "This is the way a way to go out and compete and have some fun on a way smaller scale. I don't have the drive to play football at a high level anymore. I don't have the drive to be the best football player anymore that I used to have in my life, and I'm okay with that. I've come to terms with what my football career was and what it is, and now I'm trying to figure out how I can stay entangled in the game, but from a different position." So Johnny Manziel is more or less saying that if you're dreaming of that comeback, you're dreaming of that one more run in the NFL or trying to make a team or maybe even the XFL or there's the USFL, which I think is coming back. Kind of sounds like
probably need to look somewhere
rule
else.
That out.
Yeah.
To the high school ranks, a couple of things that I want to bring up. One of them came down last week that Lubbock High has made a hire. Lubbock High, the Westerners have been looking for a head coach. Shane Stephen was the coach last year. He will not return for 2022. They have brought in the head coach at Corpus Christi Carroll, Juan Rodriguez, to be their next head coach. Moving from the Coastal Bend up to the South Plains, Juan Rodriguez will be the new head coach at Lubbock High.
And that concludes their coach. They had what,
Yes.
3 out of the 4 jobs open with Coach Mann being a first-year head coach
Yes.
last year. So it was like a lot of switch going on over there.
And finally, I want to bring up our friend Dan Gainey. Dan Gainey has retired there at Colorado City after a long career there with the Wolves. He was he went out the way that he wanted to. They were able to end a long losing streak this past year, and he is now going to go out on his own terms. The reason I bring up Dan Gainey is longtime listeners to Dave Campbell's Texas Football may remember that he was a guy who put together one of our favorite interviews of all time. Dan Gainey was, he's been the head coach there since 2013, had a couple of really good years in 2017, 2018. I believe in 2017 was when we had him on, maybe 2018. We had him on just to talk about his Wolves. I think it was in the offseason, maybe after that 2017 season. And it was Max and I sitting here talking with him, sitting in our old office, actually, talking with him. And he was coming to us from a
golf tournament.
From a golf tournament. It was a regional golf tournament in Midland, I believe it was. And I kind of closed up the interview. He was sitting on a golf cart, talking with us. Closed up the interview, and I said something along the lines of like, "Well, Coach, we certainly appreciate your time. Congratulations, a great year, and enjoy the offseason and enjoy that golf tournament there in Midland." Mm-hmm. And his reply was something along the lines of, "Yeah, whatever." He was not.
And then he legitimately hung up after that. I'm pretty sure.
No, he invited us to come out to Colorado City.
Oh,
but then he was like, oh, appreciate it. But he was very clearly not into the golf tournament that he was watching. And so he would be if so. Dan Gainey has retired. We certainly wish him, a friend of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and a friend of Texas Football Today, the best going forward. Those are some headlines. We are Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at DCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, and recruiting all across the Lone Star State. Hope you'll consider becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football Insider at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. All right, Pickle. Dave Campbell's Texas Football is proud to honor one head football coach in each classification the Coach of the Year award. Each coach recognized with a special honor typifies the best in Texas high school football. The Dave Campbell's Texas Football crew, we're putting together the 2022 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and one of the things that we do is we honor the very best of 2021 in the magazine. And one of the things that we do is we hand out the Coach of the Year award to each in each classification. It was we go through each classification and we pick out one guy who we think was the most outstanding coach in Texas high school football that year. It was a tough ask this year in particular, with a lot of outstanding coaches. But we're now proud to unveil the 2021 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Coaches of the Year, starting in Class 6A. With John Kay of Galena Park North Shore. In guiding the Mustangs to their 4th state championship in his 8 seasons at the helm, Kay may have pulled off his most impressive coaching job to date. With a freshman quarterback and a young core of playmakers, Kay and his staff spurred his squad to grow up in a hurry. By the time the Mustangs arrived back at AT&T Stadium for a third tilt with familiar foe Duncanville, North Shore was their usual well-oiled machine, a credit to the remarkable coach who now boasts a 36-4 record in the playoffs. The 5A Coach of the Year. Jason Todd from South Oak Cliff. It had been 63 years since the Dallas ISD team had been able to hoist a recognized state championship, all the way back to Dallas, Washington of the PVIL. It was that history that Todd's Golden Bears faced down, that door that South Oak Cliff kicked down, when it claimed the 5A Division II state championship, toppling powerhouse Aledo along the way. Loaded with talent, yes, but South Oak Cliff will be remembered for their razor-sharp execution and a knack for the moment, a trait that inherited from its leader. Todd's squad rallied the entire city of Dallas and rode that wave to a place in Texas high school football immortality. The Dave Campbell's Texas Football 4A Coach of the Year. Sterling Doty from Stephenville. Few know the expectation levels in Stephenville, Texas, quite like Sterling Doty. He was, after all, a player on the Yellow Jackets' 3rd and 4th state championship squads in 1998 and 1999. So when he took the job at his alma mater, and when he combined 12 and 11 in his first 2 seasons, the pressure was on. No matter. Doty rallied his squad to make all sorts of history in 2021, including the first 16-0 season since that 1999 title and the program's 6th state championship overall. The 3A Coach of the Year. Ray Biles from Lorena. There are few coaches with a connection to their school quite like Biles is to Lorena. The 2021 season was the veteran coach's 30th season at the helm of the Leopards, joining an elite fraternity of just 21 UIL Texas high school football coaches to spend 3 full decades in the same head coaching chair. But that was far from the only milestone for the understated dean of Central Texas coaches. He also captured his 200th career victory and did so in style in the 3A Division I state championship, leading the Leopards to their first state title since 1987. The 2A Coach of the Year, Ruben Torres from Marlin. There was some understandable head-scratching when Torres took over at Marlin ahead of the 2021 season. After all, he'd come to Falls County from El Paso, where he'd spent the previous 14 seasons at places like Isleta, El Dorado, and Franklin. But once the Bulldogs stepped onto the field, it was clear that he was the right man for the job. Torres took his team that went 4-5 in 2020 and surged them into the state semifinals, winning 11 games for the first time in 17 years. Of particular note, the Bulldogs' defense improved by an average of 18.7 points allowed per game, one of the biggest defensive leaps in Texas. The Class 1A Coach of the Year, according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football, is Shannon Waters from Benjamin. There's not a whole lot to say about the history of Benjamin Mustangs. The tiny Knox County school is perhaps best known for having one of the smallest enrollments in the UIL, though it's recently surged to a relatively gargantuan 44 students. But Waters has helped turn the Mustangs' fortunes around in a hurry, instilling a hard-nosed defense and a toughness to go along with it. The results in 2021 were, frankly, astounding. A perfect regular season, the program's first district championship since 1978, and a sudden feeling that the best is yet to come in Benjamin. And the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Private School Coach of the Year is Eric DeHaven from the Woodlands John Cooper. By private school standards, especially in the history-laden Southwest Preparatory Conference, the Dragons of John Cooper are relative neophytes, with just 11 seasons under their belt. But while they may be new-ish, the Dragons have been a force though a state championship has eluded them. That is, until DeHaven helped push them over the top. After falling short in the SPC 3A title game in 2019 and playing a makeshift schedule in the COVID-riddled 2020, DeHaven took his team to previously unreached heights, knocking off Irving Cistercian to capture the team's first ever crown. There they are, the 2021 Dave Campbell's Texas Football Coaches of the Year. Congratulations to all the coaches. They will be honored in the upcoming 2022 summer edition of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, so make sure you check that out. Pickle, let's go to the hotline, and let's bring in the new head coach. Let's go west, way west, to talk to the new head coach of the Kermit Yellow Jackets. We're joined by Coach Nate Gensler. Coach, how are you?
I'm pretty good. How's it going?
Doing excellent. How are things in beautiful Kermit, Texas?
Oh, they're great right now. It's 92 degrees, a great day. I'm at the district golf meet, so I'm loving life.
All right. Well, listen, that is as exciting as it gets when you're at a district golf tournament.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you a little bit about this move to Kermit. You've most recently been the defensive coordinator there at Lubbock Roosevelt, helped turn them into a real powerhouse in the past couple of seasons. You now get an opportunity at the big chair there in Kermit. I'm interested why this move was right for you. What was it about the job there in Kermit that drew you to it?
Well, I tell you what, we played here on our second playoff game in Roosevelt when we played Alpine. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that struck me about Kermit is, well, number one, the facilities. The football field's amazing. Mm-hmm. The field house, we just got nice things here. And I've been other places where I've played. I know that Kermit's always had like some good-looking kids. And so, I thought, even after that second playoff game, I was like, man, if this job comes open, I might throw my name in the hat for this one because this could be a good place.
Yeah, and obviously you get the job out there at Kermit. This is a program that in past couple of years have been a bit rough, but I know that you're right. They've got a great history. They've got a number of outstanding seasons under their belt. When you got on campus and you addressed your players for the first time as their head coach, what was your message to them?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, when you look at these kids in the offseason, we got great kids here. And I tell you what, I came in there and hit the ground running as far as working them. I do things a little bit different as far as, discipline wise. Weight room is some schools they talk about having like a boot camp like 2 weeks a year. Like my off season is boot camp all year. And so when I told these kids, I called them up on me. We got some good looking kids here, like big old kids, huge kids. And I'm telling these kids, I'm like, the first thing I told them was I got too many dang good looking kids standing right in front of me for us not to win a whole bunch of dang football games. Mm-hmm. And it's true. We got good looking kids here. There's no reason why we shouldn't win some games this year.
Yeah, it's certainly a case that you guys should be able to turn it around in a hurry. I want to ask you a little bit about the place that you're coming from. You were a guy who was the defensive coordinator for Lubbock Roosevelt. They ranked 5th in 3A Division II last season in points allowed per game. Made it all the way to the state semifinals. Looking back on that 2021 team, especially on the defensive side of the ball, what was it that worked for you guys there in 2021 at Roosevelt, and how do you feel like you can bring that to Kermit?
Well, I'll tell you what. I had 11 guys on defense that would come and strike you, and when you've got three of the dudes that I had just got done with the state powerlifting meet. Those 3 guys had over 100 tackles. That combined for about over almost 70 touchdowns and 4,500 yards rushing on the offensive side. I know we're talking defense, but it didn't matter because they never left the field. You know what I'm saying? And so these guys, we just had guys that would just come and hit you. They were disciplined and they were physical. And I tell you what, if we bring that here to Kermit, if we're physical and if we're disciplined, we're going to win. And so that's what we just had great kids there in Roosevelt. Roosevelt's a different kind of place, as far as kids wise. We have a children's home there. We have a lot of kids that are adopted. I've never felt more loved as a coach than I did at Roosevelt. And those kids, they'd run through a wall for you. And we had a lot of seniors, so. We were a senior-heavy team. We had those 3 guys, and we had my son. Of course, my son's a Yellow Jacket as of today, but we had good kids.
I want to ask you a little bit about the comparison between Roosevelt and Kermit. It strikes me that this is a similar situation. When Coach Landers arrived there at Roosevelt, this is a program that was a little bit down. Had not won a lot, and suddenly they were able. But the pieces were in place for a turnaround. Looking at what they're at Kermit, we mentioned only 3 wins over the last 3 seasons combined. Do you feel that same sense of this could be a quick turnaround if we can just kind of get everybody moving in the right direction?
Absolutely, 100%. I've had some guys that been trying to get some coaches hired, and they're like, well, might be tough to win early, and I'm like, nope, I'm trying to win right now. And I look at these kids and what we got coming back here in Kermit, and just the eyeball test. We just get them working. Discipline, get them stronger in the weight room, get them tougher. Like I said, I got my son coming. He was all-state running back last year. There's no reason. I'm planning on turning this thing around year 1.
You mentioned your son. When you Google Nate Gensler, you're the second Nate Gensler that comes up. You're the second Nate Gensler in your own family that comes up,
right?
In your own household. But your son, who was a district MVP last year and all-state running stuff like that. From your perspective, I'm interested. We hear a lot about coach, but as dad, what's it like going out there and coaching alongside your son?
It's amazing, especially after the year we just had in Roosevelt. It was super special. When you have that kind of a run and you have that kind of success, and then your son has that kind of success, it's kind of like what you dream about as a coach. You have a coach, you have your boy, and then you have that kind of success, you and him on the field. It's absolute dream come true. Now, as far as being a dad and a coach, I tell you what, I really turned my coaching around, my ability to coach, when I became a dad. It's different and I tell every kid that I coach, I'm going to coach you exactly like I would coach my own son, because you're like my kids to me. And, they probably don't like that, but it just makes you a better coach, like how you talk to them, how you respond to them when your kid is standing right there with them. You know what I mean? So, it's special. It's just, it's a great opportunity to get to do this, turn a program with my son. We're doing it together. It's going to be his senior year, and it's something we'll always have.
And finally, Coach, I want to ask you a little bit about what you're going to take from the coaching staff there at Lubbock Roosevelt. Coach Matt Lander's done obviously an unbelievable job up there with Roosevelt. But I'm interested, what do you feel like you learned from Coach Landers that you're going to bring with you there to Kermit?
Well, Coach Landers, man, he did such a dang good job with those kids. He's been at Roosevelt for a long time, even as an assistant. Before he got the head coaching job. So I think the number one thing that I'm taking away from him is just, his ability to persevere and his ability to instill discipline in kids. And, he's a heck of a freaking football. He's a heck of an offensive guy, too, as far as that flex bone stuff. Now, I'm not going to be flex bone here in Kermit, because I don't think it fits what our kids are going to do. But, he's such a good offensive coach, and the way he relates to kids. And, I think if I can bring some of that perseverance, some of that discipline here to Kermit, we're going to be all right.
He's Nate Gensler. He's the new head coach of the Kermit Yellow Jackets. Coach, really appreciate your time. Congratulations again on the new gig. Can't wait to see what you guys do out there.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. There he goes. Nate Gensler, the head coach, Kermit Yellow Jackets, join us here on Texas Football Today. Kermit, you can throw it up. I forgot to change out the logo. If you don't know where Kermit is, Kermit's way. It's right at the. Thank you. It's right on the corner basically of Texas. Right. You're kind of. If you were to
right
go,
angle of the panhandle.
If you were straight north, you'd be right into New Mexico. But they are in that difficult district there with Brownfield, Denver City, Lamesa, and Slayton. But this is a team, I think he's right. Kermit's had a history of being successful in the past. They've just kind of had a couple of down years. Mm-hmm. The 3A level can be like that. I also think that that's a district where you can do a little bit of damage. Denver City had a great year last year. They're probably the favorite. But I look at this and I don't know. I don't see why there's any reason they couldn't have a turnaround like that. So,
well, and just the way he talks too. You want to talk about a person that's going to get the kids going. I mean, he said that. He goes, "I want to have an impact now," and so that energy does feed.
You got to have a guy who wants to be there. Mm-hmm. You got to have a guy who wants to go out there and coach these guys, and obviously Coach Gensler is that guy. So we appreciate him taking some time out of his district golf tournament to chat with us. Let's go over to Ashley Pickle for America's second favorite segment. Final thoughts.
What a perfect timing for a golf tournament to be happening after we just got done talking about Coach Gainey.
Yeah, I know. I almost
he said that. I was like, oh.
I almost asked him. I guess it's that time of year.
Yeah.
Because I think the Coach Gainey interview was like 4 years ago, like today. But the I guess it's district golf.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
Right now.
The one quick thing Step put in the comments about Coach Gainey. He said the year that Colorado City was 0-10, I showed up to one of their games, and as I'm walking out to midfield to say hello, Gainey goes, "What the hell are you doing here?"
That's Coach Gainey is a straight shooter. There is no doubt about that. He's a straight shooter. So we appreciate Coach Gainey and certainly hope he has the best. Wish him the best in retirement. It's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbells. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Thanks again to Nate Gensler, the new head coach of the Kermit Yellow Jackets, for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Vince Young, please get your Player of the Year trophy. We will see you tomorrow on Texas Football Today.